Hello everyone, good afternoon. Hope you're having a nice day and enjoying some sun. Well, I've got some sun today, which is nice. I always like to tell people what my weather is when I start these webinars to see that, hoping you have it as well. So welcome to this live webinar being organised as part of the Oxfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership Work Experience Programme, powered of course by SpringPod. So I hope you're enjoying the course so far and cracking on with it. And if you have any problems or you have any issues need sorting, then just use the green chat icon in the bottom right hand corner of the platform and then someone can help you out. So a few housekeeping bits before I introduce our speakers. This talk should last around 30 to 40 minutes, and don't forget to use the Q&A function to ask questions to our guests today because they'd love to answer them. And that's what they're here to do, to help you guys out and ask any questions you may have. So it's really important to get any questions in whilst you've got these guys. So you know how to submit questions, but just if you do see a question that you thought that you wanted to ask, then you can just give it an upvote and then we can ask the most popular questions if we're running out of time. And if you do miss this webinar, you need to leave at any point, that's absolutely fine because we're going to be recording it for you and have it linked to you within 24 hours so you can come back and watch it again. So in today's webinar, we're going to be talking about becoming employable and advice from Oxfordshire apprentices. So joining us today, we have Tommy, who's from the University of Oxford. We have Connor, who's from Williams F1. Iman, who's from, here they are, they're all coming. Iman, who's from the Oxford Biomedica and Jade, who's from Oxfordshire, UK. So these guys have learned, they're all different jobs, so they can answer lots of questions for you. And they've all got a presentation, so they'll tell us a little bit about how they got into what they do, what it is they do, etc., A-levels, grades, and all that sort of stuff, which you guys always like to hear about. So I believe up first we have Tommy, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about himself. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks very much.
Oh, Tommy, you've got your camera up. There he is.
Back. Thanks, that's right. So I work at the University of Oxford as a facility support apprentice. So it's a 2-year course that I'm doing there at the moment. And so far I've actually really enjoyed it. I've learned quite a lot of things regarding, lots of different administration work and checking buildings and things like that. Because the big thing about the university is a lot of their buildings that they own are actually booked out for events and things. So we do a lot of event setup and things. And I think it's really important to learn all the different skills that you can with setting up for meetings and things like that. Because, every sort of meeting that you set up with is different and things like that. So, yeah, it's really good. And I think especially for apprentices as well, there's such great opportunities there for getting involved with lots of social aspects as well, outside of work. For example, pre-pandemic, I actually helped out with a film night at the Sheldonian, which was something really interesting that I got involved with. And also helped out with other ambassador events as well, such as doing webinars and going to schools and things like that to do discussions and things. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for apprenticeship. It's not just doing the work at the employment, it's also things outside as well, which is really important. So
amazing. Yeah. So how did you get started in that career?
So I actually got started, so I originally at college I was doing sort of IT and computer. That sort of, I think I realized that wasn't sort of the kind of pathway that I wanted to go down, and I kind of wanted to get more into kind of maintenance-y things. And then the apprenticeship opportunity came up at university, so I sort of went for that to see if I can learn more skills sort of on how to do more DIY work and sort of hands-on work. And so far I've actually done a lot of different experience with doing that, and been showing lots of different things as well, such as drilling and fixing light bulbs and maintenance within buildings. And I think that's a really important skill that I've learned, and I'm going to be able to expand on it a lot more, I think, with my future career and personal development. So yeah.
But how did you find your job? Was it just kind of online and you just sort of applied for the apprenticeship?
Yeah, so I actually found the apprenticeship through Indeed, but you can also look on Oxfordshire Apprenticeship's website as well. They've got it on there. And with the training provider as well that I'm with, Cube Learning, they've been really helpful because instead of me actually going to do the apprenticeship at college, which I know most apprenticeships you do have a day at college as part of doing it, I've actually done mine as a way of my college tutor sort of comes to my workplace, does the course with me. So that's been quite good that they actually come to you rather than you kind of having to take a day out, but you still get all the great learning, great sort of tutoring from them on how to complete your apprenticeship and how to get the coursework right, and if you need any help with it or anything, they're always there to help. So I think that's really important, and that's a really good aspect as well. If you have struggled trying to get to college if it's quite far away, etc.
Yeah.
So
amazing. And what is it you like about doing an apprenticeship?
I just like, I think mostly sort of just the social aspect, and just like the learning on the job, I think is really important, because sort of you're being paid to learn. I think that's a lot more helpful than obviously going to university, because I think you mature more quickly if you're in work as well already, because you're already learning about how to work with your colleagues and things like that, and how to the travel to work and sort of being independent and things. I think it's really good for that upbringing of independence, much more, I think, than doing sort of A levels in university are. Yeah, I mean, some people may disagree, I don't know, but yeah, but
no, it does sound like a really good route in, doesn't it, to the workforce, if you've got your apprenticeship, you're learning and you're still doing, and it's a best of both worlds, I always think. So thank you, Tommy.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for that. It'll be interesting to hear. We'll have some questions at the end, so we'll hear a bit more about you. And just guys who are watching, if you have any questions you want to submit, if during this webinar there's anyone you want to ask a specific question to, just put their name in it, so you can say, "Oh, Tommy," and then your question. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, Tommy. On to Connor now. There he is. So Connor, you've got a little presentation for us, haven't you?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So hi everyone, I'm Connor and I work for Williams Racing, or Williams Formula One, whichever you want to call it. So a bit about Williams first, for those that don't know. So we're a Formula One team based in Grove in Oxfordshire, and pretty much we're responsible for the design, manufacture and racing of Formula One cars. So there's approximately 600 employees that we currently have on site, so all working on different aspects of the car. Me, myself, I'm in the manufacturing side of things, so I'm a CNC machinist, so work on the machine shop making metallic parts that go on the car, essentially. So my sort of background is from school, did my GCSEs. At the end of my GCSEs, didn't really know, I knew I wanted to do engineering, I just didn't know what sort of pathway to take, whether that be A levels, university, and then on to that way, or go through the apprenticeship route. So I actually committed to the first year of A levels, did my ASs, and it was about midway through my ASs that I saw the advert for the apprenticeship at Williams online, and part of me was and ahhing, so I just thought I'd apply for it anyway and just see if anything came of it. And yeah, so I was lucky enough to be called for an interview and go through all the interview and selection process, and then I found out the day I enrolled for year 13, so the second year of A levels, that I'd been accepted.
Wow.
So I then had a big decision to make over the weekend as to whether I wanted to accept the apprenticeship or whether I wanted to carry on with my A levels, seeing as I was already halfway through them. And yeah, I changed my mind about 10 or so times, I think. Either carry on doing my A levels, go to university, or actually do the apprenticeship. And a part of me knew that the apprenticeship was just too good an opportunity to put down. So I decided that I'd do the apprenticeship, and then if I wanted to, I could always go to night school or self-study the A levels and go on to university in my own time later on if I wanted to do that. But yeah, as it turned out, I did the apprenticeship, which was in mechanical and manufacturing engineering. So with that, I did a HNC, HND, so that way you're actually learning a qualification alongside all the practical hands-on experience. So with Williams, we spent the first 2 years rotating around the factory, so working on composites, so the carbon fiber aspects of it, or in the wind tunnel working on aerodynamics, inspection, so quality control and checking all the parts are to performance, or what I'm doing now, which is machining. So yeah, so I've then specialised in machine shop for the past 6 years. So it's been a while since I finished my apprenticeship, but yeah, I'm now a fully skilled CNC machinist. And in that time, I've also gone on to actually go to university part-time and do my bachelor's and also my postgraduate diploma.
Amazing. So you're very qualified.
Yeah, very qualified. You could say that, yeah. But yeah, over the apprenticeship, obviously the best thing about it is having that hands-on experience, and also the opportunity to go to college, or in my case, be lucky enough to go on to university as well. So I've still got the qualifications that I wanted to achieve when I was at school. At the same time, I've got 8 years worth of practical hands-on experience, which has put me in such a good position going forwards in my career, knowing that I'm now set up essentially, hopefully for the rest of my career.
Yeah, that must have been amazing as well, going from, because I know a lot of people, when you're doing your A levels, it can be a bit of a time, like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't know whether I'm going to go to uni or get a job, and it's a bit of uncertainty. So it must have been quite nice for you to be like, right, I'm starting year 13. Oh wait, no, I'm not. I've got an apprenticeship lined up, and I'm sorted in that way. In that sense, that must have been quite nice for you.
It was weird because, like, as I said, I did one day of year 13, and I found out I had the apprenticeship opportunity. So don't get me wrong, it's a big decision to make, and I think anyone in the same position, you've got to properly weigh up what you want to do, and if it is right or wrong for you, then only you will know that. But from my personal experience, it's the best decision I ever made. So
absolutely. And I see you've got some skills on your slide there. So do you want to talk us through why they're relevant for your?
Yeah, sure. So these are the skills that I found to be most useful in my role here. So we'll go through them quickly. So communication, without a doubt, the biggest skill you need coming to any working environment. You're going to be talking, well, not just talking, but writing emails. And because of now the pandemic, most things are online, so like Teams or webinars and things like that. So just having a good broad range of communication skills. Teamwork, without a doubt, also very key aspect of any skills. You're not by yourself when you're at work. You're always working in a team, or being an apprentice as well. You're always going to have to go and ask someone for help, or ask them to show you something. So definitely don't be scared to do that. Problem solving, no 2 days here are ever the same. You always come across new issues or new problems, and being able to just think on your feet and go, who do I need to go and see to sort out this problem, or just try and think about the possible solutions yourself. That way you'll learn for next time, and even if you make a mistake, hopefully you'll learn from it next time round. And which then leads on to about the perseverance and motivation. So if you do get something wrong, don't be put off by it. Just know that now next time you've learned from it. It's been a bit of a learning curve, and you can move on from it, and know that next time you'll be okay.
Absolutely. And you've got some advice as well. So you've got some very good advice on there, but maybe you could talk us through that as well.
Yeah. So for me, I think what my feedback was from my interview process is that I stood out from other people also applying because of the work experience I've been on, and also the fact that I showed that I had good hobbies and interests in engineering outside of school. So something I definitely recommend is get as much.
What work experience have you done?
So I worked at Cullen, the Centre for Fusion Energy. So I did a week there, sort of just like a taste of the week. It was sort of working in like electronics and other departments, and like a bit of mechanical engineering as well. So, and because I had a general hobby and interest in engineering anyway, so sort of outside of school, I would help my dad tinker on the car, and just have other bits of like Lego, Meccano, whatever you can do just to show that you've got an interest.
Yeah.
Not just that we're here for the Formula One or whatever. So
is that relevant? That do you need to be interested in F1, or is that just kind of?
Not necessarily. I mean, I've always been interested in Formula One anyway from a young age, but because I'm more interested in the engineering side of it, I think that's what they saw as that. And at the end of the day, it's an engineering apprenticeship. I'm never going to get a chance to race in the car, unfortunately. So it's more about the engineering for me anyway. So definitely show a hobby or interest in that, then that's great. And obviously, because all employees, the first thing they see is your CV, is make sure you sell yourself on that CV.
Absolutely.
It's a bit of paper that is going to decide whether or not you get called for an interview or not. So sell yourself the best you can, and then finally just go for it. It's the best decision I ever made, and I don't regret it. So
love that. So yeah, it's a good idea to keep the skills you put on there as well. You can kind of talk about them and work them into. Rather than just saying I have good communication, you say, I've got communication because of this, and I've done it before at this job, or I don't know, part of school or something like that.
Yeah, even things like volunteering outside of school, or just getting involved in anything you can that just shows that you've worked in a team, or you've even just stood up in class and gave a presentation about something. It's showing that you've got the ability to do it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Connor. Really interested to hear about your route in. Next up, we've got Iman, who is gonna pop on screen. Dun, dun, dun. There we are. Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry. Hi. Hi, everyone.
Amazing.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Iman Basharan. I'm an apprentice at Oxford Biomedica. You've probably heard of Oxford Biomedica in recent times. We are manufacturing, one of the manufacturers of AstraZeneca's COVID vaccine here in Oxford. So a bit about the company I work for. We are a pioneer of gene and cell therapy, and we have an established lentiviral vector platform that we use to create therapeutics for diseases in ocular, cancer, hemophilia, and stuff like that. I do appreciate that you guys are in sixth form and college, so this may be a bit technical for you, but you can ask me any questions afterwards. So yeah. Gene therapy is fairly new. It's a new branch of science, and what it is essentially we are using genes to treat and prevent diseases in any way, shape, or form you can do that. So at my company, we pack genes into lentiviruses, a specific lentivirus, and we essentially transfer that into a patient to treat their disease. So yeah, that's what we do at my company. But about me and my role within the company, I'm a process R&D apprentice. So within my company, there are so many departments and there are apprentices across most of the departments. But in my department, process research and development, I'm an apprentice, and how it works is that there are subgroups within my department. So I have the opportunity to rotate around all the groups and get the full package, the total experience for the duration of my apprenticeship. So I did 6 months as a lab technician. I'm currently an analytical scientist, well, a trainee analytical scientist. And hopefully when I finish this rotation, I move on to upstream, which is where we culture the vector and the cells. And then after that, I move on to downstream, which is where we purify the cells and the vector and everything we've made through our upstream process.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know, it's so technical, but yeah. So how did I become an apprentice? Very similar to Connor, actually. I did A-levels, I completed A-levels, I applied to university, got into university. I did A-level biology, chemistry, and maths. I got into pharmacy, and during my first year of pharmacy, I realized I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a pharmacist. I don't want to study pharmacy. I've always had an interest in biology and microbiology. So I thought I'd either change courses to do something that was more focused on microbiology, or I just applied to apprenticeships. And when I was in college, in sixth form, there were no science-based apprenticeships that were advertised to us. We were just all pushed to apply to university. So that's what everyone did. And I don't regret doing the 1 year of university, but if this opportunity came in sixth form, I would have applied to it straight away. But yeah, so I changed, the March, April time when the pandemic hit, I was like, I've got time now. I'm going to apply to all the apprenticeships that suits my preferences. So I did that, and I got a few interviews. Oxford Biomedica was my first interview, and I attended the interview and got an offer, and I didn't go to any other interviews anymore because when you have the opportunity, just take it. So I took it, and here I am now. So my apprenticeship, you get a FDSC in applied bioscience, which is equal to a HND, I think, but you do have the opportunity to top up and move on to the BSc, depending on the availability within the company, etc. In terms of apprenticeship standards, this is a higher apprenticeship, and I'm a level 5 technician scientist apprentice. But within the company, I'm just called a process research and development apprentice. So moving on. Oh, is this?
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, so the skills that have helped me and that I've learned throughout the apprenticeship. So I'm going to start with what I wish I had developed in school. Self-directed learning. I think with you guys and with the pandemic, you have been able to learn on your own without guidance from your teachers and tutors. But when I was in college, you go to school, they tell you what chapter we're doing today, and you just do that. So with an apprenticeship, you have your study material, and it's up to you to take out your 20% of your week or of your total apprenticeship to study and learn, and you will be examined on it. So you really have to have the ability to organize your time and study on your own, and reach the level that your employer and your academic advisor would want you to reach at a specific time. So yeah, I wish I had developed this skill in sixth form, where I just have all the material and learn it on my own and, you know, get good grades. But I feel like with you guys from the pandemic and learning from home, you are in a better position to do this if you end up doing an apprenticeship. And also the self-validation part. So I was talking to my line manager about this the other day, and in college or sixth form, you sort of, every test you do or every assignment you get a grade back on it, and you get, well done, you know, you got an A+ in this. But when you're working, you're just expected to do your job. So as much as you would get positive feedback, you need to get used to doing your job and knowing in yourself that you've done the best that you can do, even if you don't get feedback from anyone, because at the end of the day, you're working and everyone else is working. So you will get recognized for some stuff, but a lot of the stuff you do excellently well, you may not get recognized for it. So that's just another thing I wish I had developed in school. So what has helped me now is being adaptable. You have to have the passion and the ability to change to every circumstance you're in. So when I started working here, it was at the beginning of the pandemic, and half of my colleagues were working from home. But because I was lab-based, I was working in the lab all the time. And then I moved departments and I started working from home more. So I had to switch from being in the lab 4 days a week to being at home a few more days a week. And you need to be able to give your best in any scenario or situation you find yourself in. And also having a willingness to learn anything. So there's so many different training sessions and opportunities within the company. And because you're an apprentice and you're not as skilled, or you don't have the same educational background as everyone else within your department, you need to take any opportunity you can to learn, so that you can have better discussions, and you're in a better position to have conversations with people that have PhDs and masters in the field that they're working in. So you need to have a willingness to learn anything and take any opportunity that comes your way. And as Connor said, also effective communication. You need to be able to communicate effectively. Half of your meetings, or half of my meetings, are on Teams and by email. And coming from sixth form, where I didn't have to send any emails to anyone, I just walk into the staff office and talk to my teacher. You need to be able to communicate effectively through email and through video conferencing and stuff like that. And also in team meetings and and in co-working environments. So yeah, that's some of the skills that are important. And if I was to give you any advice, I would say, so for me, feedback I got from my interview was that I emphasized how much working while I was in school, how I could balance working while I was in school with learning, doing my A-levels. So as an apprentice, you are studying and working. And if you can show that you've been working from when you're in sixth form and you've been able to get good grades and balance working as well, your employer would know that you would be capable of succeeding as an employee and also as a student while you're at their company. Also, get anyone to proofread your application before you send it off. It really doesn't matter the background of the person proofreading it. Just make sure you get someone else's opinion on it, because you may read your application and think it's all you can give and that's what you're going to give in, but another person may see it from a different point of view and say, you know what, how you phrase that seems like you feel like you're the best that they could ever get, and stuff like that. So give your application to someone to proofread. So you're in college and sixth form and you're school age, so you should have tutors and teachers in school that you can trust with your application to proofread. But yeah, so that's all I've got for you guys today. I'm sorry I ran through that.
That's great. Thank you, Iman.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
That's great advice as well about proofreading. It's something we don't talk on that much, but actually that's such a good thing to talk about. Because because you never know that if you writing it and you just kind of forget, don't you? Like,
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, that makes sense. And then sometimes someone can come along and say, well, that sentence makes no sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's very good advice. So thank you very much, Iman.
Thank you very much.
And finally, we've got Jade. Where's Jade? Oh, she's here. Hello. So it's your turn now. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your apprenticeship.
Perfect. So hi everyone. As Misha said, I'm Jade and I'm an assistant manager at Assure UK based in Banbury and London. And not too long ago, I was in your shoes trying to figure out what I wanted to do once I'd finished my A-levels. So at Assure UK, we're a small firm, so we're only made up of 11 team members, all of which we specialise in pension audit and assurance. So our clients could range from thousands of pounds worth of assets to billions of pounds worth of assets. So it just shows a vast range of work that we're required to perform. I always thought I would be one to go to university to complete a degree in accountancy and or audit. But I think that was more because I wasn't aware of the opportunities around me for apprenticeships. And I was quite fortunate enough that whilst I was completing my A-levels at Leamington College, the opportunity for my apprenticeship came up through my tutor, and she saw that it was locally based in Banbury, so put that forward for me. And it was quite similar to Connor because I got offered the apprenticeship in October of my second year of A-levels, and I was then in the decision of, do I continue my A-levels or do I leave and go straight into the apprenticeship? But the company that I was going towards, I spoke to them and I just said, this is my position. I don't really want to drop out of A-levels because I've started them, and from ASs didn't actually count towards anything. So I would have just had a year of not having anything. So upon speaking to them, I was actually lucky enough to be able to then start the following September. So I completed my A-levels and then went into the apprenticeship. So I still had that last summer as well, just to enjoy myself. And I think it's also important to know that you won't always be limiting yourself to a junior throughout an apprenticeship. You will be able to grow up through the stages. Like I said, I've recently become an assistant manager, which I would never have expected to be able to come before qualifying. So I think that is really important to be aware of. In terms of becoming a chartered accountant, you need 3 years on the job, whether you go to university or not. So so if you don't go to university, I have 13 exams to complete. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you do go to university, you do get some exemption from the exams. So I think you have to complete around 7 or 8 out of the 13. But then you also need that 3 years experience. So I started back in 2017, so I've already got the 3 years experience. I just need the exams now. So I think that's also important to highlight, as well as the transition from school. Obviously, you're so used to being set in your 3 o'clock finishes. It is a big jump going into full-time work, but it's just making sure that you get that work-life balance. And I think it is really important to be able to show that and not go full in that work is everything, because it is obviously your career and it is your life, but actually you have got your life outside of work as well. Mm-hmm. And I would definitely say make the most out of your final summer, whether that's going to university or going into full-time work, because I definitely did. I think I spent about 6 out of the last 8 weeks of my summer holiday on holiday.
Oh, honestly, that takes me back. I remember that last holiday, and it's like the last, and I think my big advice with that as well, just to interrupt you, sorry, but it's like in that last holiday, remember that this is the last time all of your friends will be off doing nothing. Because now, I'm 23, turning 24 soon, and it's just like it's such a nightmare trying to arrange things in the summer because everyone's across the country and we've all spread out, we're all got jobs, whatever. So please make the most of it for me, because I
definitely agree with that. So like I said, I joined Assure UK in September 2017, and I started at a level 4 apprenticeship with ACCA, but I'm now close to finishing my level 7 apprenticeship. So you do obviously grow throughout those, and once I qualify, now is dependent on exam passes, and it just leads you, opens your path for future careers really. And also, apart from like the knowledge side of my job, I've also, because of the apprenticeship, I've had skills days with college, and it just opens your development in different areas, and such as communication and presenting. I have to do a lot of presenting to clients during the closing of projects, and the first time I did it was probably the most daunting thing I had to do, standing in front of all of the board of the client, presenting obviously our work that we've done to them. But I think now it's one of my favourite things to do, because you build the relationships with the clients, and it just grows from there, really. And I just wish I knew the opportunities out there for the apprenticeships earlier, because I think they do need to be pushed out there more, because there's so much out there, and I think any experience that you can get is a key experience. And it's definitely just sometimes taking that step out of your comfort zone, because I think sometimes there's such a stigma around apprenticeships that they're not as good as university. They're the second way out, they're the easy way out sometimes, and it's not like that at all. I can go on, once I've done my level 7, I can go on to do a degree, I can go on to a master's, so I've not limited myself by going into apprenticeship and not being able to get that degree there. And I think just do your research, whichever route you take, it will be right for you. And that's about it, I think, really.
Amazing. Thank you, Jade. We've had so many questions coming in. I think everyone's really interested in you guys and what you guys are doing. So should we do a bit of a Q&A now? Where is it? We've lost Jade. Oh, if everyone can put their camera back on, we'll get the group back. Get the band back together. Here we are. Oh, we're missing someone. There we are. Tommy's there. Perfect. So we've got about 10 minutes for a Q&A, and I'll try and put them to I'll pick one of you to answer if that's okay. So Tommy, does doing an apprenticeship instead of university affect jobs, would you say?
I don't think it doesn't, no, because I think doing an apprenticeship in itself is a good way to kind of expand your career into a full-time job, because especially depending on the company you're working with, because if you're doing an apprenticeship with them, then that sort of, depending on how well you're doing your apprenticeship, and if you complete it and kind of excel really well, then they'll recognise you as a someone who can kind of be put forward for other jobs and things. And they're always trying to advertise, especially with the university, they're always trying to advertise more kind of jobs that they would want you to apply for, more positions that are coming up and things like that. So yeah, I think there's never a worry of it affecting any other jobs, you know.
Yeah, and if you were to do your apprenticeship, and then let's say you didn't decide to stay on at this company for whatever reason, you can still use that apprenticeship as a qualification to apply for other jobs.
Yeah, you can, exactly. Yeah, and it's still really good experience as well. You can put on your CV and things, and you can advertise to other employers that you might be more interested in if you weren't sort of working with that apprenticeship and things like that. So definitely, yeah.
Amazing. Next question. Iman, I'll give this one to you. When you're in an apprenticeship, when you earn money, do you earn enough for a living, or do you have to manage your time and have a part-time job too because you don't earn enough money?
So salaries vary very widely. I think so. Most apprenticeships now, because a lot of people are applying to them, employers tend to offer minimum wage. So, and also depending on the level of apprenticeship you apply to. But I've been able to live off my salary. Would I like more money? I don't know. But yeah, I've been able to live off of my salary. But I assure you, it will vary employer to employer.
And is that an apprenticeship? When you say minimum wage, is that an apprenticeship minimum wage, or is that like the standard minimum wage you get at any job?
So the government advises that there's an apprenticeship minimum wage, but depending on your age as well, it will increase, and yeah, it varies employer to employer, but you should be able to live off your salary. Yeah.
Amazing. Good. I hope that reassures people. That was a very, very popular question. Connor, this one's personally for you. Someone says, hi, Connor. What is your daily job task during your apprenticeship? I'm sure it varies day to day, but just maybe an average day.
Yeah, I do an average day. So as an apprentice, you'd turn up and you're always assigned, well here anyway, you're assigned like a mentor or a go-to person. So you'd go and see them, and whatever department you're in at the time, we then dictate what sort of job to do. So for me, being in the machine shop, I have to go see my mentor and they'll decide what machine I'm going to be on that today. So that's CNC machining, and then just work our way through the jobs, and then depending on what sort of skill level you're at, will depend on whether or not you've got full autonomy to do it yourself, or whether you need to actually someone stood over your shoulder showing you what to do or telling you what to do. But now that I've been through that, I turn up, I know exactly what I'm doing, pick up the next job that's needed to be made, and just crack on then.
He's a pro. He knows what he's doing.
I think so anyway.
Yeah, good. I'm sure you do after all these years doing that. Jade, I'll ask this one for you. What is the biggest benefit of doing an apprenticeship over going to university in your mind? I'm not sure which path to go, and I would like to hear your thoughts.
I think for me, the biggest benefit has been that I would have had to have done an additional 3 years after university, as well as the 3 years at uni. So it would be a 6-year time frame to become qualified. I was on track to be able to qualify within 3.5 years, but with COVID last year, some of our exam sittings got cancelled. So hopefully I'll be within the 4-year bracket of qualifying, whereas one of my friends has actually just finished university in finance and accounting, and they've now got a job, but they've got this 3 years additional on top of 8 exams. So I don't know how many exams you have to do at university for it, but my exams are I've got the 13 exams, the 3 years experience, whereas university's got the 3 years dissertation with exams, and then obviously the 3 years experience after that as well.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Sorry, we've got lots of questions coming through for you guys. Everyone's very interested in you guys. Next question. I'll give this to Tommy. Do you need A-levels to get, well, I mean, you guys have disproved this, but do you need A-levels to get onto an apprenticeship? Does it make it easier, or is it just not necessarily? Tommy, that one's for you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Not necessarily. I think it depends on what type of level you're in. Yeah. I think it depends on what level of apprenticeship you're doing. Like with mine, for example, because I did level 2, that's
we might have
to so with my apprenticeship I'm doing, because it's level 2.
Right, we might have to remove Tommy for a second, just because he's really glitching out a little bit.
Is it working?
You're on a bit of a delay, Tommy, and you keep stopping like so I don't know. Maybe we'll just see if your connection sort of catches up a little bit a minute. While we're working on that,
yeah.
Okay.
Let's go for another question.
Sorry, Esme, I was just going to say, so summer apprenticeships, yeah. So for example, my apprenticeship, you needed at least 80 UCAS points on top of your GCSEs. So depending on the level of apprenticeship you apply to, you may need A-levels or ASs maybe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you know how many points? I don't remember how this works, because there's points per, like, what is an A-level?
Per grade. So I think 80 UCAS points was, I think it's CCC at least, I think.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's quite,
yeah, but I'm not sure, so you guys can check that maybe.
Yeah. we sound so clueless, don't we? We're like, okay, next question. Jade, I'll ask this one for you. Is an apprenticeship hard work in terms of the amount of time you have to spend studying and the amount of time working? How do you balance your time?
So I think obviously it would vary depending on what level your apprenticeship is. So my level 4 training and study time is a lot lower than the level that I'm at now. So in terms of college, for me, I do have the option to go during the working week, but then with the responsibilities and client work that I've got during the week, it is very crammed in. So I tend to do my lessons at the weekend, which some might sound, I don't want to waste my weekends doing that, but then I also get those days back as study for the exam. So for me, it's more beneficial. We also, at my employer, we also do flexi hours. So my working day usually is 7 till 4 Monday to Thursday, and then I do 7 till 1 on a Friday.
Mhm.
So socially, my time hasn't changed too much, and I am able to still do hobbies outside of work, and I'm not too tired at the end of the day to think, oh, I've got to go out again to go to dance, sort of thing. So for me, I haven't struggled too much, but I think it does, the workload I'm not going to lie and say it's easy, because it's not. I think during studying week, I do solid, like 8-hour days studying to be able to pass, obviously, the exams. So it's, varies.
Yeah. I mean, all jobs are going to be, a level of hard work, aren't they? Which is kind of, we've got to put it in to get it out. I think
you've got to be committed to obviously the job to then get out what you put in. Definitely.
Absolutely. I very much agree with that. Connor, how do you feel your experience is different to your friends who went to university, assuming you have some friends that went to university?
Yes. So I was the only one out of my group of friends that didn't go to university. All of my friends went down that university route. I was the only one that went into an apprenticeship. So my experience has been extremely different. I think the key thing that all of my friends were jealous about is that I was earning a wage whilst still learning, and where I've been lucky to do a degree. I've got a degree out of my apprenticeship, and I haven't had to pay a penny for it. My employer's paid for all of it. I've earned a salary at the same time. Whereas all my friends have obviously gone to university, racked up all that debt and all the student loans, and at the same time haven't had any hands-on experience. So by the time they finish their degrees and applying for jobs, they're struggling because all employees are asking for experience as well as the qualifications. Whereas so I've had that, they haven't. So obviously I've missed out on like certain social things. So university is a very social place, or especially during the first 1 or 2 years. So I haven't been experienced any of that, but I was never bothered or fussed about experiencing that anyway. So for me, the apprenticeship was the better experience in my opinion.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I can see what you mean. It's definitely a different experience, isn't it? Because you've not got the whole freshers and going out. And I'm sure some people go to uni for that, don't they? Rather than just the learning side. We've all got our things we go to uni for.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at more questions. I've just been told we have got longer than I thought. So I think we're running till 6 today. So I don't know if you guys, there we go. Surprise, we've got more time. So next question, Tommy, I'm hoping your signal's back. I'm looking at you to see if you're reacting in time. Is an apprenticeship, no, are apprenticeships better for a specific type of job, or are they a good choice across the board? Oh, I think Tommy's internet's very not good. Maybe Tommy, could you try?
I think they're pretty good across the board, to be honest. Can
you? We're just trying to see if that makes your internet a bit better. If you have your camera off, sometimes it's less bandwidth or whatever it's called. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. So yeah, no matter what job you're doing, to be honest, whether you do an apprenticeship or not, because I think even if you're doing quite a high level job, like something like what Iman's doing in biomedica and things like that, I think you can always sort of get into that if you sort of gain the right skills and maybe go out of your way to learn a bit more about what the job's going to involve and things, and sort of train yourself on it. Then I think then you can excel really well in it. I think definitely. So I think maybe for certain jobs, but not for most jobs. I think you wouldn't have to go. You don't have to do university before you do it. You can sort of just go straight into it and things, and that's kind of one of the benefits of an apprenticeship, is you don't have to do a lot of learning. You can kind of just build your way up like a ladder kind of way to different apprenticeships and things. So yeah,
completely. Next question for Iman. How easy is it to find an apprenticeship, would you say? And I know that's quite a broad question, but are there a lot out there? Is it hard to get on? Some of them are very competitive.
So I think it depends on the field you're applying to. So if you are applying to, say, engineering, it seems like there's a lot of engineering apprenticeships out there at different levels. I know I recently came across a level 6 aerospace engineering apprenticeship, and it's like you get a B.Eng at the end of that. But in terms of biology, like what I'm doing, and microbiology and science, I realized there's a lot less opportunities for apprenticeships in this field, especially in ATMPs, where I am. But definitely, if you're early enough, so apprenticeships applications for September entries, they're usually out in February, March. So if you're early enough, keep an eye out on the Gov website. They've got an apprenticeship website. I think it's gov.uk/apprenticeships, and you can filter by your region. And if you're early enough in February and March, obviously that's past now, but yeah, you can look for September entry apprenticeships, and there's also entries in January, so probably around September as well. Look out for other opportunities. But yeah, there's not that many in my field, but in certain fields, like even in the hair and beauty field, there's usually loads of apprenticeships in that field as well. So yeah,
because I quite like that question, I'm going to ask the other guys as well, because you might have all different takes on that in your own industry. So Connor, what do you think? Would you say it's easy to find an apprenticeship?
Yeah, especially in engineering. Just there's engineering so popular at the moment in terms of apprenticeships that you'll find them anywhere and everywhere. Obviously, if you want to find a specific one, so if you want to be me with like Williams, you do have to keep looking online and keep checking that when they're posting it, and be quick to get in. But obviously, the bigger the type of apprenticeship, the more popular they are. So yeah, you just got to weigh up really. But yeah, they're quite easy.
In terms of like, I don't know, 50 people apply and there's only one apprenticeship job, or is it?
Yeah. So for me, for Williams, there was 400 applications for only 4 positions.
Oh,
it was quite a competitive year when I applied. So, but I think just because you put F1 on the end of anything, it's going to make it quite popular to most people doing engineering. So
absolutely.
But yeah, I'm sure there's other companies out there that don't quite have that.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. Well done you for getting that then. 4 and 400 is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Jade, how about you? What do you think? Do you think there are a lot of opportunities out there?
Yeah, so in terms of accountancy, at the level I started at, it was a brand new opportunity for the level 4. So before that, there were level 3 apprenticeships with a different examining board. So when I came in, it literally, I think they'd just started the week that I'd enrolled. So I was sort of the guinea pig for my company as well, because nobody had gone through it. My employer had just paid for the training for all of my other past colleagues that have gone through. So I think when I first started, in terms of a higher level in accountancy, there wasn't much out there. But now, turning up to college, it's always a full class, and even like study days and hearing people around us with the clients that I work with, there is so much more out there now for accountancy.
Yeah, I guess it's all, I'm sure there's going to be peaks, like you said about, like Connor said, there's engineering being quite popular at the moment. I'm sure there must be sort of, I guess, peaks of like how popular subjects are when you're in demand for things and stuff. Yeah, so Tommy, how about you? If you can hear me, what do you think about how easy it is to get an apprenticeship?
I think I think it's pretty easy to get into an apprenticeship. I think especially with the university, because they're kind of constantly always advertising apprenticeships to different people, and obviously there's so many departments within the university. You can kind of get an apprenticeship in many different ones, and they're actually rated this year as one of the top employers for apprentices or something. So I think they're going to win an award for it this year, and they've won a few I think in the previous years as well, just for because of all the support and things that they give their apprenticeships with the training providers that do it and things like that. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of scope for sort of what you want to get into there, and kind of what they offer to young people and things as well. So yeah.
Amazing, thank you for that, guys. Someone's asked about how competitive apprenticeships are, but I feel like we've kind of covered that a little bit there. Someone says, where online do you find apprenticeship jobs? I know you talked about the Gov, Iman talked about the Gov website, the Gov UK website. Is there anywhere else, like specific apprenticeship job sites? Is that potentially? Iman?
Sorry, I was going to say, I think there's a website called Find an Apprenticeship.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, and employers advise advertise their apprenticeships on there, but also specific employers sometimes on their websites have that advertised.
Yeah,
and the NHS also has NHS apprenticeships advertised on NHS jobs.
okay, so if you know a specific company and you want to work for them, you can just keep an eye out on their jobs page.
Yeah, but obviously check Google if they offer apprenticeships to begin with.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
4 years down the line, they still haven't advertised an apprenticeship because they don't do them. Okay, what else have we got next? Is there I think this is going to be a bit of a niche question, but is there a maximum amount of people that can have apprenticeships at the same place at the same time? Like, I guess the cohort of people they take on. Connor, you just nodded there, so I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, so it really does depend, because the government obviously pay for apprenticeships. It's all dependent on the individual company as to what sort of levy they can get from the government, and also what space we've got. So, like, in my year, there was only 4 of us. In the year after me, they only took on 2. But I think in the past 2 years, they've taken on 8 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it really does vary from year to year, and also with a company like us, it depends on what capacity we've got or where they predict demand to be in 4 years' time. Because at the end of the day, they want to take you on at the end of your apprenticeship.
Yeah,
so they've got to sort of try and work out where there's going to be space for you at the end of your apprenticeship in terms of the company.
Yeah, because they can't take on 400 applicants and then make 400 new job roles.
No, exactly. So yeah, it does depend on the company and the size of the company as well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next question I thought was quite interesting, actually. Someone's asked, how do your parents feel about you doing an apprenticeship? Did you have to convince them? Now, I think this is because, we get a lot of questions here on Springfield about apprenticeships, and I think because a lot of schools really, and no-minded, really push that university route. Full disclosure, I didn't even go to university, but my school did really push and say, go to university, that's the only option. They didn't really tell us about apprenticeships. No one really knew about them back then, and I think now they're getting a bit more of a, everyone's putting them in the spotlight a little bit. So did your parents, did you have to convince your parents, or were they just like, yeah, cool, that sounds like a great idea? Jade, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I do think, like, from what you were saying, Esme, I think there's just such a stigma around what the apprenticeships are. Like, I was at a school locally earlier today, and one of them said they think they've just worded what apprenticeships are wrongly, because it's quite a historic sort of wording. So for me, I'm one of 4, so I've got 3 brothers. One of them went to uni, and 3 of us have done apprenticeships, and none of us are in any different position to each other. We've all achieved well, or are continuing to achieve well. So for me, I didn't have to convince my parents, but I know from speaking to others, their parents are like, no, you should be going to university. And I think it's so important to widen the range of our parents' generation to say, actually, no, apprenticeships are just as good as university. My mum has her own company, and she wouldn't be able to, not live, but she wouldn't be able to run if she didn't have the opportunity to offer the jobs to apprentices. So I think that's so important as well. So I've seen it from myself firsthand, but also as an employer, how important it is to be able to have the opportunity to have apprentices as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear. Yeah, and you're right. You need apprentices. Like, they're really beneficial. So it's like, it's so sad, actually. There is this, like, it's not, I think stigma makes it sound sad, but I don't know, it is weird, isn't it, that there is this kind of looming thing that it's not university, I think. Connor, what do you think? Did your parents, were they happy for you to go straight up to apprenticeship? Like, you had to back out of year 13. So what do they think about that?
Yeah, so my parents were fine with it. They obviously asked what the apprenticeship involved, what it entailed in terms of would I still be going to college, or what qualifications would I be getting. They obviously didn't want me to waste 4 years and then not have anything at the end of it to show for it. But I think because they knew that Williams has got such a good reputation in terms of being a family business and looking after their staff, they were happy for me to do that. But I definitely had to convince my school. So when I decided to school that I'm going to step down, take away from the sixth form, they sort of really probed me in terms of what the apprenticeship was going to offer, what I'd be doing, and if I was definitely sure, yeah, my parents were fine. They, no one in my family's ever been to university, so it was fine for them.
Interesting. What about you, Iman?
Yeah, similar. My parents just wanted to make sure I would be on the same level playing ground as my mates when I finished the apprenticeship. And at the end of the day, I'm getting a degree out of it. I get work experience that all my my friends from college aren't getting. So I guess, yeah, they realize it. You are ahead of the game, basically. But yeah, it's just making your parents understand that you're getting work experience and you're getting a qualification that will be useful for the field or the career path you want to work in at the end of the day. Yeah.
Amazing. And finally, Tommy, what are your thoughts? What were your parents thinking?
Yeah, no, my parents were really supportive of it as well. I mean, my mum she did go to university when she was younger, but she also said to me, it's not for everyone. She said it, sometimes you might not like what you're doing at university, you might not enjoy it, and I think the apprenticeship is kind of that other routine that you can go down where you might feel more comfortable doing it, and it might become more better to your liking things. So, yeah, I think definitely, yeah, they're really supportive, and so were my school and college as well, because with my college they had the whole kind of like uni side, and they did advertise for students, but they also had a careers person there who spoke about apprenticeships and said that is a route you can go down. So I kind of did get the conversation about apprenticeships when I was at college, but yeah, I think a lot of people I know did go to university, but then yeah, people did also do apprenticeships. So I think it's really important to find your niche, really, isn't it? So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's good that I'm so glad to hear all of your parents were supportive, because it'd be sad if one of you turned around and said, no, my parents begged me not to do it. All right, well, final question then. How long do your apprenticeships take in years? Like how many years was it? Was it 4 years for all of you, or is it different levels of years, different amounts of years? Different amounts of years? Anyone want to jump in? Jade, how many years was yours?
Mine's a minimum of 3 years.
3, Iman?
Yeah, mine's a minimum of 3 years as well.
Connor?
4
4.
years. Yeah.
And Tommy?
Mine's 2 years. Mine is, so yeah.
Okay, so you got a short one. Well, there we go then. So they're a bit of a varying amount of years.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks, guys, so much. That's the questions done. Really appreciate your time. It's been really interesting to hear from you guys, and I hope that people watching, got a bit of insight into being an Oxfordshire apprentice. There's lots of different. You guys will do very different things. So that's very interesting to hear from you. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you get all your work submitted and get the programme completed by the 16th of July to be eligible for your certificate. And you can find all the important dates in module 1 if you do need reminding. So guys, good luck with the rest of the programme. And to our speakers, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.